Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. So, I have a bunch of books piled up still from my birthday, which was admittedly almost 4 months ago. And I need to get them put away. So I'm just going to film the remaining book hauls and through the end of the year. This will cover my birthday, third and fourth quarter, and then they can all be put away, which will be a good thing. So in this video, I am going to do classics and mysteries. It is a combination of Better Worlds, my library bookshop, and I think that's it. I don't think anything in this list is from another source. So there you go. And I will timestamp the different categories. So if you want to skip to one and not watch the other, that is fine. I will put the timestamps I will make the timestamps available so you can, flip between chapters. Okay, so let's do classics first. And let's do the ones from the library first. Both of these, believe it or not, normally when I go to the library, Dave sits in the car. He's not a reader. He doesn't come in. He does not even, get that there's a smell to books. But he did come in one time this year and he found 2 books. They both happen to be classics. So first up, this is, I believe, at Easton Press. I am wrong. The cover page is wrong. This is a 20th Century Classics from J.G. Ferguson Publishing Company, who I've never heard of. And it was reprinted in 1920. Anyway, this is Lord Jim by Joseph Conrad. This is a Conrad I have not read. It is in perfect condition. It's leather-bound. Felicity. That's enough. And, the print isn't super tiny, but I'm looking forward to this. And, it was a $3 leather-bound classic book. I am happy about that. Hang on. Okay, she's done cleaning herself. You would think she was the filthiest dog. And then he found a book I have never heard of. I am so interested in this book. And that is A Civil War Treasury of Tales, Legends, and Folklore, edited by B.A. Botkin. I've never heard of this book. I've never heard of this editor. And it's a big old chunky boy. And I will read you the flap because it's fascinating. The explosion of a shell, wrote a Civil War chronicler, was frequently followed by the crack of a joke. More than almost any other American war, the Civil War was a storyteller's war. It is also our national epic, the American Iliad. This book contains a rich sampling of Civil War storytelling of all types: personal narratives, anecdotes, hero tales, legends, historical traditions, yarns, tall tales, jests, strange tales, fables, culled from a wide variety of contemporary sources, letters, diaries, newspapers, periodicals, pamphlets, and the great body of Civil War reminiscences and regimental histories. Over 330 stories have been arranged both chronologically and by subject to form a story history of the war. The whole, says Mr. Botkin in his introduction, constitutes a collective saga of the human side of the Civil War. Its typical experiences, heroes, traditions, myths, legends, fables, foibles, images, and symbols reflecting the American imagination at work in a mingling of fact and fantasy on the stuff of our most American war. In their own words, the people of the time speak to us in voices that are still fresh and meaningful to us today. The voices are those of Abe Lincoln and Robert E. Lee, of slaves, scouts, and spies, of the boys in blue and gray, and the girls they left behind, of doctors, chaplains, nurses, correspondents, and a host of others, in a way that only folklore, history from the heart, can, and conventional history cannot. Their tales and that is a poorly constructed sentence. Their tales and narratives convey the vitality and humor, the courage and imagination of people and an era. So this is a big old chunky boy. It is with the index 624 pages, and it's a mixture of articles and correspondence, and there's some illustrations, and it's just going to be one of those, pick it up and read a section. And it's like the first one is chapter 1, 1861. Mr. Lincoln comes to Washington. And section 6 is aftermath. Chapter 44, a good war dies hard. So I think this is going to be a fascinating glimpse into something that is, very, very out of fashion. So this was published in 1960. So it's older than I am. Okay, there are two more now that I have some space since Kahlua moved. Classics. These are both, I believe, from Better World. First up is 1984 by George Orwell. Believe it or not, I did not read this in either high school or college. And I took a lot of literature courses, and this never came up. Shouldn't be surprising given the state of American universities. And the same with this one. This is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Again, I am not surprised this did not come up. And I graduated before things went truly kaflooey like they are now, but it was still bad. These are both on my want to read list for 2026. But as you know, there is really no plan for 2026. So if I get to them, great. If I don't get to them, I will get to them eventually. Okay, next up. That would be history. Or history. That would be mysteries. Okay. First up would be the most recently released book in the Bookmobile Cat series by Laurie Cass. That is the 13th book, and this is Bookum Eddie. And this was a pre-order from Better World. I am reading book number 12 right now, and then I will read this for sure. This is just pure cozy delight. Librarian, a cat, a small town in Michigan, 4 seasons, the whole 9 yards. I'm so looking forward to this. Okay. Next up would be The Christmas Spirits on Trad Street by Karen White. I love this cover. This was a library find. I believe this is like the 6th book in the series, which I have not read anything by her, let alone the preceding books before this, but I am very interested and I love the cover. Like, I love the cover. I will just read you the brief blurb on the back. The Christmas spirit is overtaking Trad Street with a vengeance in this festive novel of the New York Times bestselling series by Karen White. So, I haven't decided if I'm just going to dive in or if I'm going to try to track down the other 5. So, we shall see. But, I love the cover, so that counts. Okay. Next up are 2 books I have already read. The first in the series, I have already donated it. The second book in the series, the first book, I will tell you the name of the first book. The name of the first book is Death Along the Spirit Road. And these take place in South Dakota. So the second book in the series is Death on the Greasy Grass. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. That's the third book. Second book is Death Where the Bad Rocks Live. And these are by C.M. Windlebow. And they involve an FBI agent assigned to the reservation, a reservation cop, and they are just lovely, well-written mysteries that make me long for South Dakota and soothe the itch to go to South Dakota all at the same time. So I'll read you the back of Where Bad Rocks Live. I love when they stick a label on that blocks language. Okay, so they didn't do it for book 3, so I'll read the back of book 3, which is Death on the Greasy Grass. FBI agent Manny Tano is taking some much-needed R&R at the site of the Battle of Little Bighorn. But when a death on the reservation cuts his vacation short, he learns the secrets of the past have a way of stirring up trouble in the present. As a scout for the legendary General Custer, Crow Tribe member Levi Star Dancer kept a journal chronicling his exploits in the Battle of the Greasy Grass onward. Now, the missing journal has been found, and the descendants of those mentioned in the account, including Levi's own, want to keep their family's secrets hidden at all costs. Manny's trip to the Crow Agency reservation turns out to be ill-timed when a reenactor of the Battle of Little Bighorn is killed right in front of him. Turns out the victim was the one who found Levi Star Dancer's famed diary and was planning on selling it to the highest bidder. And while the dead body is hard to miss, the coveted book is nowhere to be found. Now, Manny has to watch his back while searching for a murderer and the missing journal, because this slippery killer will do anything to make sure the past stays buried. And I know there are 3 or 4 more books in this series. They are high on my list to finish out so that I can just, sit down and binge them all. But if you love stories that take place in unique locations, if you love stories that take place in the Midwest, on the prairie, I highly recommend this series. It is fantastic. Okay, on a completely different vein, I have read nothing by this author, but I am very intrigued by this series, so I picked up the first book. This is Death in a Desert Land by Andrew Wilson, and his protagonist is Agatha Christie. Baghdad, 1928. Agatha Christie has traveled to the excavation of the ancient Mesopotamian city of Ur to investigate an unsolved mystery. 2 years ago, the explorer and writer Gertrude Bell died there from a drug overdose. At the time, the authorities believed that Bell had taken her own life, but a letter recently unearthed revealed she was afraid someone intended to kill her. Upon arrival, Agatha encounters Miss Bell's former rival, the enigmatic archaeologist Mrs. Woolley, as she is on the cusp of making a potentially lucrative discovery. Temperamental but brilliant, Mrs. Woolley quickly charms the famous novelist, but Agatha cannot ignore the possibility that her new friend might be a murderer. As Agatha stealthily begins to gather information, she discovers that her mission is not without its considerable risks. With a killer poised to strike again, Agatha must use all of her skills to outwit a devilishly cunning adversary determined to stay hidden in the desert sands. I think this sounds brilliant. I am seriously hoping it is as good as I want it to be. It's 336 pages. I believe there are 5 books in this series. I could be mistaken. I know this is the first one, and this was first published in 2019, so they're relatively new. And yeah, I'm interested in that. Okay. Ooh. Next up, I love this series. I absolutely love this series. This is completely out of order. Yeah. I don't care though. I will read these books out of order. This is Murder in Bel Air by Cara Black. This is an Amy Leduc mystery. They take place in Paris. She is a young woman investigator. I love the writing in this series. I love the characters. They're very well written, and this one is really short. It is under 300 pages, and the chapters are short as well. So if you need a good mystery series with short chapters, I recommend this one. I believe this is book 19 or book 20. And this one was published in 2019 as well. I know there are more since then. So, actually, this is probably the 20th book. I cannot recommend this series enough. I absolutely just adore it. Okay, what else is next? Okay, up next is a series I managed to fill out. I read book 1 this year. I believe it was this year. Anyway, that was The Yard by Alex Grecian. Later in the year, I managed to pick up The Black Country, which is the second book in the Scotland Yard's Murder Squad mystery series. And for my birthday from Better World, I managed to get the remaining 3 books in the series. Now, we all know how fussy I am about books matching. 3 of the books I own in this series are hardbacks. They're all the same size. They're in perfect condition. 2 are paperbacks, and those paperbacks differ in size. Do I care? No. Well, okay, yeah, I care, but I took what was available because I'm having so much trouble finding. I had so much trouble finding this series. So the next one is The Devil's Workshop. This is the third book in the series, and it is a beautiful cover. It is, it's in perfect condition. It was easy choice. Fourth book in the series is The Harvest Man, and it may be actually the same size as The Yard. It's obviously in paperback, and obviously it's got its nice little library dust jacket, the plastic kind, and I am okay with that. And the last book in the series is The Saint of Wolves and Butchers, which is just a very nondescript cover. It is obviously from a public library. I can probably get this sticker off if I really wanted to. And this last book was published... Oh no, it looks like I'm missing one. Oh, I'm missing a book. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so this was published in 2018. So apparently I am missing Lost and Gone Forever. Oh, well, I have to go track that down, and then I can read this series. So I take it back. It is not yet complete. That is sad. Okay, well, I will rectify that shortly, because I really, really enjoyed The Yard. Okay, up next is Library Bookshop Find, and this is trilogy. They had 2 out of the 3 books in the trilogy, and luckily for me, the trilogy is also on Kindle Unlimited, so I read the first one on Kindle Unlimited, and the first one is Rich Blood by Robert Bailey. Book 2 is Rich Waters, and book 3 is Rich Justice. These are legal thriller mysteries. They are set in the South. If you enjoy John Grisham, it is safe to say you will enjoy these. They are much more centered on the South versus a lot of Grisham's newer stuff has much more travel involved. Let's put it that way. And I really enjoy Rich Bailey's writing. It is immersive. However, I will warn you, if you are language sensitive, he's not the writer for you. However, it is not a problem for me. Okay. Next up would be Burning Bright by Nick Petrie. This is a Peter Ash novel. I have a Peter Ash novel sitting in my bookcase, which is the first one in the series, which is The Drifter. These are spy thrillers, and I'll read you the blurb for this one. War veteran Peter Ash sought peace and quiet among the towering redwoods of Northern California. But the trip isn't quite the balm he hoped for. The dense forest and close fog causes claustrophobia to buzz and spark, and then he stumbles upon a grizzly long thought to have vanished from this part of the country. In a fight of man against bear, Peter doesn't favor his odds, so he makes a strategic retreat up a nearby sapling. There he finds something strange. A climbing rope, affixed to a distant branch above. It leads to another and another, up through the giant tree canopy, ending up at a hanging platform. On the platform is a woman on the run. From below them come the sounds of men and gunshots. Just days ago, investigative journalist June Cassidy escaped a kidnapping by the men who are still on her trail. She suspects they're after something belonging to her mother, a prominent software designer who recently died in an accident. June needs time to figure out what's going on and help from someone with Peter's particular set of skills. Only one step ahead of their pursuers, Peter and June must race to unravel this peculiar mystery. What they find leads them to an eccentric recluse, a shadowy pseudo-military organization, and an extraordinary tool that may change the modern world forever. I am very intrigued. I have not yet read The Drifter, but I love me a good thriller. I love me a good spy thriller. And I have no qualms about picking this up. So this is 416 pages. And just from a brief flip through, I'm going to enjoy this immensely. It's told from 2 points of view. Sign me up. Nobody is surprised that I picked that up. Okay. Next up, this isn't going to surprise anybody. It's really not. This is from my library. The Fall by Neal Stephenson. Big old thick puppy. It was on sale for $1. It is in perfect condition. I also own this on Kindle, and I am not upset that I bought it in hardback when it was available, even if I own it electronically. Given the choice, I would always prefer to read the hardback. So I will read you the description. And it turns out this is actually a science fiction thriller, so cross genre, I'm still putting it in the mystery category. In the beginning, in his youth, Richard Dodge Forthurst founded a corporation 9592, a gaming company that made him a multi-billionaire. Now in his middle years, Dodge appreciates his comfortable, unencumbered life, managing his myriad business interests and spending time with his beloved niece Zula and her young daughter Sophia. One beautiful autumn day, while he undergoes a routine medical procedure, something goes irrevocably wrong. Dodge is pronounced brain dead and put on life support, leaving his stunned family and close friends with difficult decisions. Long ago, when a much younger Dodge drew up his will, he stipulated that his body be given to a cryonics company now owned by the enigmatic tech entrepreneur Elmo Shepard. Legally bound to follow the directive despite their misgivings, Dodge's family has his brain scanned and his data structures uploaded and stored in the cloud until it can eventually be revived. No one knows whether a simulated brain will be the same when it is rebooted, or if something will be lost, an ineffable spirit that cannot be recreated in computer code. In the coming years, technology allows Dodge's brain to be turned back on. It is an achievement that is nothing less than the disruption of death itself, and the beginning of a new world, an eternal afterlife, called Bitworld, in which humans continue to exist as digital souls. But this brave, new, immortal world is not the utopia it might first seem. Fall, or Dodge in Hell, is pure, unadulterated fun sprung from the unique genius of Neal Stephenson, a magnificent drama of analog and digital, man and machine, angels and demons, gods and followers, past and future, reality and belief, the mortal and the eternal. In this exhilarating epic, Stevenson raises profound existential questions about the nature of man and truth, and touches on the revolutionary breakthroughs that are transforming our future. Combining the technological, philosophical, and spiritual in one grand myth, he delivers a mind-blowing speculative literary saga for the modern age. I know I'm going to love this. As usual with Stevenson, it is floating at just shy of 900 pages at 883. And it is very, very safe to say I'm reading this next year. I have no doubt about that at all. Not even a hint of a doubt. So, okay, and to finish off mysteries, I did pick up some John Grisham's. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. First one you've already seen, that would be The Exchange by John Grisham. I tried to buddy read this with Lucy in, I think it was August this year. It was a softie enough at the time. This is the sequel to The Firm, which was his first runaway hit. And I say it was a softie enough. I don't know if it was the content or the mood I was in, so I am willing to give it another try, but it wasn't The Firm. I'm just going to leave it at that. It wasn't The Firm. Okay, next up, also in hardback, is The Confession. I have not read this. This doesn't even ring a bell for me. So I will read you the blurb. An innocent man is about to be executed. Only a guilty man can save him. For every innocent man sent to prison, there is a guilty one left on the outside. He doesn't understand how the police and prosecutors got the wrong man. And he certainly doesn't care. He just can't believe his good luck. Time passes and he realizes that the mistake will not be corrected. The authorities believe in their case and are determined to get a conviction. He may even watch the trial of the person wrongly accused of his crime. He is relieved when the verdict is guilty. He laughs when the police and prosecutors congratulate themselves. He is content to allow an innocent person to go to prison, to serve hard time, even to be executed. Travis Boyette is such a man. In 1998, in the small East Texas city of Sloan, he abducted, raped, and strangled a popular high school cheerleader. He buried her body so that it would never be found, then watched in amazement as police and prosecutors arrested and convicted Dante Drum, a local football star, and marched him off to death row. Now 9 years have passed. Travis has just been paroled in Kansas for a different crime. Dante is 4 days away from his execution. Travis suffers from an inoperable brain tumor. For the first time in his miserable life, he decides to do what's right and confess. But how can a guilty man convince lawyers, judges, and politicians that they're about to execute an innocent man? Now this sounds like a John Grisham novel that I'm going to love. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. And then there are two paperbacks. I haven't read either of these. The first is The Associate, and Kyle McAvoy possesses an outstanding legal mind. Good-looking and affable, he has a glittering future. He also has a dark secret that could destroy his dreams, his career, even his life. One night, that secret catches up with him. The men who accost Kyle have a compromising video they'll use to ruin him, unless he does exactly what they say. What they offer Kyle is something any ambitious young lawyer would kill for: a job in Manhattan as an associate in the world's largest law firm. If Kyle accepts, he'll be on the fast track to partnership and a fortune. But there's a catch. Kyle won't be working for the firm, but against it in a dispute between two powerful defense contractors worth billions. Now Kyle is caught between the criminal forces manipulating him the FBI, and his own law firm. A malignant conspiracy not even Kyle, with all his intellect, cunning, and bravery, may be able to escape alive. Again, it sounds like another Grisham I'm going to love. No, you cannot drink coffee, little girl. Oh my stars, I do not need a hyper you. No, nobody needs a hyper Kalu. Okay, last Grisham book is Grey Mountain, and I have not read this one either. The year is 2008, and Samantha Kofer's career at a huge Wall Street law firm is on the fast track. Until the recession hits and she is downsized, furloughed, and escorted out of the building. Samantha, though, is offered an opportunity to work at a legal aid clinic for 1 year without pay, all for the slim chance of getting rehired. In a matter of days, Samantha moves from Manhattan to Brady, Virginia, population 2,200, in the heart of Appalachia, a part of the world she's only read about. Samantha's new job takes her into the murky and dangerous world of coal mining, where laws are often broken, communities are divided, and the land itself is under attack. But some of the locals aren't thrilled to have a big city lawyer in town, and within weeks, Samantha is engulfed in litigation that turns deadly. Because, like most small towns, Brady harbors big secrets that some will kill to conceal. Again, I want to read that. Hi, did you think people didn't see you enough, so you thought you'd, come and look pathetic and sad and unloved? Yeah, I don't believe anybody's going to buy your nonsense story. Yeah. So, I can now put away all the mysteries and classics and thrillers and have my pick come 20 with a giant Kahlua. Say a giant Kahlua. So, have you read any of these? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. And Kahlua and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.